Hello.
Good morning. The Committee on Parole is called back to order. Today's date is December the 8th. The time is 8:49. We are at Vermilion Parish Prison. Would the staff at Vermilion please introduce themselves?
Zachary Broussard.
Mr. Broussard, is there anyone else there with you?
Miss Rose Broussard, my friend Trey Menard, and Chloe Bingston.
Well, I understand people there, but is there any staff member there with you
Um,
from the prison?
No, sir. I could try to get
No,
somebody.
all right. We'll just move forward.
Okay.
Mr. Broussard, would you please give us your full name and DOC number?
Zachary David Broussard, 725541.
Thank you, Mr. Broussard. Mr. Broussard, this is a revocation hearing. I'd like to explain our procedure to you. First off, I'm going to cover your parole revocation questionnaire with you. Then I'm going to read you the allegations of how you violated your parole. You'll either plead guilty, not guilty, guilty with a statement, or not guilty with a statement. At the appropriate time, we'll allow those persons who wish to have input to speak. Currently, today, you have present to speak on your behalf your grandmother, Miss Rose Broussard, a friend, Mr. Trey Menard, and another friend, Miss Chloe Bingston. And then we'll have a full discussion as to the allegations against you. Do you understand our procedures?
Yes, sir.
Do you happen to have your questionnaire in front of you?
Yes, I have the questionnaire right here. Another thing I noticed I've actually filled out this questionnaire before the preliminary hearing. But I'd signed it after the preliminary hearing.
Okay.
But what I mean by that is, before the 26th, I had filled out this hearing whenever I got notice of a preliminary hearing. And I actually do wish to speak for myself.
Okay.
So I know I'd stated on here that I did not, but I thought this was for the preliminary hearing, stated that
I
being that I
understand.
had a
We're
lawyer.
going to have a full hearing today, and you can say anything you'd like to say.
Okay.
Is everything on that questionnaire, other than the fact that you wish to speak on your own behalf, correct?
Yes, everything's correct.
Okay, and are you ready to proceed to move forward with the hearing?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to read you the allegations. It's alleged that you violated Rule 4 in that you failed to refrain from criminal activity when on or about April the 9th, 2022, you committed defense of battery of a dating partner, strangulation, child endangerment. How do you plead that allegation?
I deny all allegations.
All right. Another Rule 4 violation. On or about April 14th of 2022, you engaged in a criminal act of resisting arrest when probation and parole agents attempted to execute Abbeville Police Warrant 2022-002417. You fled on foot and evaded arrest. On October the 17th of 2022, all charges were malpractice, Vermilion Parish docket 68557. How do you plead for those allegations?
To the resisting arrest, I do admit to resisting arrest and plead
Okay.
guilty to resisting arrest.
And finally, Rule number 5, you were in possession of a dangerous weapon such as a knife as evidenced by your arrest for aggravated assault upon a dating partner. How do you plead for that?
I deny the allegation and violation.
Broussard, your case has been assigned to Ms. Pearl Wise. She will begin our interview process. Would you please answer any questions you have?
Yes.
Mr. Broussard, why are you in jail?
I was arrested on a warrant for the charges of aggravated assault and battery on a dating partner on April 14th, 2022.
What did you do on April the 14th of 2022?
On April 14th of 2022, I woke up at my mom's house, went to the gym, and then proceeded to call my parole officer, Ms. Jessica Hebert, to report for the next day of which is a Friday, April 15th, and I was going offshore that day. So I called her to report the next day, to report for the next day, and I told her that I was using Uber and that she wanted to meet with me in Abbeville, but I told her I couldn't come to Abbeville. So we agreed to meet at 2 p.m. at my house at 2917 Thea Drive. So I went to my house. Miss Jessica knocked on my door and pretty much banged on my door. And I came outside onto the front porch and closed the door. And she said that I had some papers to sign, which I guess were the revocation papers or something, because I had a warrant out for my arrest. So she called me to her vehicle. That's when I noticed two other vehicles on the side of her vehicle, and she told me I had a warrant out for my arrest. So instantly, I ran into the sugarcane field behind my house.
Stop you on that. Let's go back a little bit further. Tell us about the incident that resulted in the warrant. What did you do there?
I did not do anything, and I deny those allegations. On April 9th, I was not in Abbeville, but I was in Maurice and in Lafayette. The whole week before my arrest, I did the same thing. I went to the gym. I would leave from my mom's house and go to the gym.
Okay,
Which
I got you. Charges were dismissed, so you were able to prove that in court. Now,
Yes.
there's some indications. Are you in regular population now? Or are you still on suicide isolation watch?
No, I'm actually on a medical lockdown
Okay.
because I had hurt my leg. So, and that's another thing. They had placed me on that, but I absolutely didn't say nothing about that. I was talking to this girl, and she had thought I'd said something. I don't know if they have a record, but they put me on that for 3 weeks, and I didn't give these people any trouble
Okay.
during that time.
I just want to make sure you're okay. So what's the status of your offshore job? First of all, how long have you been working offshore?
I got that job in April of 2021.
Mhm.
And I had that job all the way up until the point that I got arrested. And the next day I was going offshore. I just talked to my boss yesterday, and he told me to contact him as soon as I come back in and that I still have my job. Actually, my friend Trey Menard works at the same company, and we work together, and he should be going out in a couple of days with them, actually. So they do have work, and I do stay busy.
Okay. So you were working offshore, I think the 28 days on. Tell me your schedule.
It would differ. The last schedule I had was a 28 and 14. So
Right.
I'd go out for a month and then come in for 14 days. But I'd went to another crew, so it would depend because we were living off a boat. They would if the weather would get bad, we'd have to come in for a couple of days and then go back out. And that was the case.
Mhm.
And that was in this case. They were calling me to go back out. I don't remember when I came in, but
And that job requires drug screens, right? The offshore jobs require drug screens.
yes, ma'am.
So you have no clue as to why you got accused of this. You have no clue.
I do have a clue, and I was with Miss Bingston. We were not together. I wasn't with her on April 9th, but we would still see each other and sleep together, and she had become aware that I was sleeping both with her and another person that she had caught me talking to whenever we were together. I know she was angry with me. I had stopped taking care of her and a child whenever we had broke up, and I think that was another thing. I know she had wanted to be back together with me, and I'd stopped taking care of both of them, and I was basically just seeing a lot of people at the time.
Yeah, because did I hear you say that you don't have a car, you were riding around on Uber and you working offshore? That don't make sense to me.
Well, I had a motorcycle, but I'd recently, July of 21, I had wrecked my motorcycle, and then I had bought another motorcycle in December, and the engine basically seized up.
I got you. Got you.
So yes, I would take Uber. I would take Uber everywhere,
Uh-huh.
or either Trey Menard would go to the same gym.
Okay. But so you're not trying to buy a car, buy a home? That's what
Yes.
I'm wondering about. Why, what's,
Yes, that's what I said at the time. I was seeing a lot of people, and I was saving my money. I did have money saved up. Um, Whenever me and Miss Bingston were staying together, I would pay the bills, and it was Section 8, so I had to pay 400 something dollars a month. So whenever we did break up, I really didn't have to pay anything, being that I was back at my mom's house. So it was convenient and easy for me to just take Uber to my gym, and that's basically the only place I go. So I was saving my money, but I was also seeing a lot of women, and I was trying to keep up a status of.
I got it now. I got it. That's what I suspect. That's what I was wondering. All righty. That's all I have. I want to hear from your supporters.
Okay, let's hear from Ms. Chloe Bingston. Bingston,
Yes, sir.
would you please give us your name? Tell us what you'd like us to know about this situation. You're the victim in this case, so tell us what happened.
My name is Chloe Bingston, and that day he really wasn't at my house, and I do feel really convicted for lying about it. But he was seeing other women, and he did stop taking care of me and my daughter, and I was really struggling, and it was just a really hard time for me, and it was just, I don't know. I mean, that's about it. I just, I don't know. It
Ms.
just,
Ms.
it-
Bingston, is Mr. Broussard the father of your child?
he was like a father to her. He was there me and him were together from the time I was pregnant until way after I had her, until her, a little before her first birthday.
But he's not the biological father of your child.
No, sir.
You indicated in your statements that you don't want any contact with him. You want him to stay away from you. If he is released from prison and going back to work, do you want to make sure he doesn't stay around you or get around you at all?
I'm okay to be around him because me and him, we have been on and off for about 6 or 7 years almost, and we've always come back together, as a team, but I don't think we will, end up back together. But but as a friend, he really is very dear to me and very dear to my daughter.
Has there been violence before between the two of you?
Not necessarily. It was.
I'm not sure what not necessarily means.
Well, it was back in 2015 or 2016. I forget. But it was. We were both doing drugs, and it just wasn't a good time.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate your coming here and you being talking to us today. I know it's a very difficult problem for you to come and say things that you said. So thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Trey Menard.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Menard, if you'll give us your name and tell us what you'd like us to know about your friend Zachary.
My name is Trey Menard, and I would just like to say that Zachary Broussard is not a violent person. He had changed his life around. He was working offshore. The only thing that he did do when he would come in would go to the gym. And at the time of all this, he was helping me in my apartment. I was tearing out the floors in my apartment and putting new ones in. So we'd be doing the floors and going to the gym. So that's really all we was really doing around April 9th and before that. So.
Mr. Menard, you work offshore at the same company that Mr. Broussard was working for?
Yes, sir.
And it's your understanding that he also has that job again if he were to be released to go back out to work there?
Yes, sir. Our boss has been talking to me since he's been in jail, asking when he's gonna be able to be released so he could come back to work. He really likes
Boss-
Zach and he really
Boss
wants to
wants
work
it
there.
back.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate your comments. Ms. Rose Broussard, let's hear from, Mr. Broussard. Broussard? Thank you on mute, Mr. Broussard. We still can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
I'm 76 years old
There
and
you
I'm
go.
not,
There you go, Ms.
and
Broussard.
I'm not computer literate. I'm
Ms.
not.
Broussard,
And-
you and I are the same age and neither
Really?
computer literate.
Well, I'm here to stand up for my grandson because, you know, when he was on drugs and did some bad things, you know, I felt that, okay, I believe, I'm a Christian. I believe if you do something wrong, you got to stand up. Zachary's always stood up to me and he's always told me the truth. And even when it was bad, and I just had to log on here, even though I don't know what I'm doing, and say, I believe my grandson. He has a disabled mother that was brain damaged, and he, between her and I, we kind of raised Zach because the dad was not in the picture. And he took a lot of, it was hard for him to have his mom discipline him because she would abuse him a lot. But he never, ever acted out to me, even when I would like ground him or do anything that, you know, discipline. And I've never seen a violent side of my grandson. And it's just, I just can't believe that he would even harm anybody like that. Now, listen, when he's on drugs, because I believe when people on drugs, they're not themselves. But I do know my grandson, when he got out, he came to my house and stayed with me. And that was a big leap of faith because I'm old to have somebody that, you know, was accused and he was on drugs before. But me and my husband took him around and he got a job and he really did good. I mean, he would not even go back to his friends that he had before. And he was really doing good. And I believe in him when he tells me, Granny, I didn't do anything. Yeah, you know, we split up, you know, my girlfriend and off and on, you know, even when he was in jail, she saw somebody else and had a baby. And then when he got out, they got back together. What kind of man does that? I mean, and he was taking care of somebody else's baby and her, you know, and I just want him, I told him that Chloe and him are toxic, you know, because she is as much as abuse, you know, I've seen it before, you know, they're just as, you know, don't get along. I don't know how to put it. But he's not a bad person and he would never harm a baby or anybody physically. And I just want to, even though I don't know what I'm doing, I just had to let y'all know this, you know, that he's been in jail for 8 months and he never had his day in court. When we got to court, I went to court and I was told by the DA, well, it's dismissed. And I said, what does that mean? My grandson's gonna come home. And they said, no, he's still got a hold. You know, I'm old and I don't understand how things work, but I believe in my grandson that he changed his life and he worked. You know, he dealt, you know, stole drugs. I mean, he dealt whatever that is. He's, you know, deal drugs and you steal and you're in with bad people. He's got a really great friend in Trey. And he works, and I just asked him, the board, please, you know, to see that he did change from when he got in trouble before. And, you know, I can't tell you what to do, but I just feel in my heart, and I pray every day for him that he could get his life back because he's been in jail 2 long years before, and 8 months now. And even Chloe, you know, they got a toxic relationship, and she feels bad because she immediately contact me to alter this 8 months and say, we need to get him out. He needs to be out. What can we do?
Thank you, Broussard. I do appreciate your comments, and as another 76-year-old, I'm telling you, you're not that old.
I'm not
And,
that old.
Let me also say that you have spoken very well. You do know exactly what you're doing, and your grandson is very fortunate to have you in his life and supporting him. So thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you for listening to me. I so appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Broussard, is there anything you'd like to say before the board votes?
Yes, I would like to say that I am in violation of my parole for resisting arrest. And I know it is completely up to y'all, the Committee on Parole, to decide whether I'm eligible for any sanctions for that violation. I had read Louisiana Revised Statutes 15574.7, and that's where I'd come to that understanding that it is solely up to y'all to decide whether I'm eligible for any sanctions for technical violations. And even if that is a technical violation, it is up to y'all, I guess. It is also up to y'all, the Committee on Parole, to decide whether I'm in violation of my parole in any other manner which is stated in the bill of particulars. I do ask the allegations that which require me to directly affect or harm Ms. Chloe Bingston in possession of a dangerous weapon be omitted. That you-
Mr. Broussard,
Yes.
Broussard, we know the law. Just tell us.
Okay,
why
I'm
you
sorry.
want us to let you out.
I know I had to represent myself for this, so I've been writing for.
I do understand that, but I just want you to tell us from your heart.
Okay, from my heart.
We can get out.
When I get out, within the week, I talked to my boss yesterday. I told him I had this hearing. He told me about Trey, him going to the classes and going back offshore. So within the week, he said, whenever I get out, to give him a call. That's probably be right after the parole office. I'm going to call him, take a physical, and make sure I'm cleared to work with my leg, which I'm sure will be okay. So take a physical, take a drug screen, and then I'll be assigned to go to work. And during that time, I'm waiting to go to work because I am broke. I have no money. I owe my grandmother money for getting me a lawyer for the preliminary hearing, which is $1,000. So that's the main thing I am focused on right there, is paying my grandmother back for that money and the money she's put on my commissary. So I do have goals, and I do need to get a vehicle, and then I do need to take care of a traffic ticket in Lafayette for my motorcycle. So
It
I am
sounds like
just-
you've got your plans laid out. That's a good thing.
it's a lot of
Let
things.
me ask you a question. I don't know how we're gonna vote, but your grandmother has suggested, and I agree with her, that it seems like Miss Chloe is a nice woman and you're a fine young man, but maybe together y'all just don't jive. Would you be willing to make sure that you stay away from her for at least a while when you get out?
Yes, sir, I'm willing to do that. Anything for my freedom, any conditions in my parole that could be changed, I'm willing.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Broussard. I think the panel's ready to vote. Ms. Wise, are you ready to vote?
Yes, I am. I I think everybody wish they had a grandmother like you had. She was a dear person. Zachary, overall, my vote is to do not revoke. You don't have any pending charges. The victim is recanted, and you presented an outstanding presentation today. You got all you need to be successful and not to go back to jail. But special condition for me is that you will live with your grandmother until your PO says you can move. That is your residence. None of this dipping and dabbing all over the place. As long as she said you can stay with her, that's where you stay. When you're not offshore, you live there. You sleep there every night. It's that kind of live with her. I don't think you realize that, but the days are numbered with her. And you're gonna miss her when she's gone. And you're gonna look back at life and realize that you paused, spend that time with your grandmother. It's gonna bless you going forward. And I concur with my colleagues that no contact with the victim in this case during your supervision period. and then talk with the parole officer and let them decide if you all can start having contact. That can be changed. When you're in town, attend the day reporting center. And I like the idea of going to the gym, continue to work out, and I'd like to see you attend church. Best wishes to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Wiseman. Freeman?
My vote is also to do not revoke. And I reprimand you on the resisting arrest charge. And good luck to you. You got a good head on your shoulders and you got good support.
Thank you.
Make it work.
Mr. Broussard, I enjoyed our interview with you today. I've been in the legal business. I've been a lawyer for 50 years. I was a judge for a lot of years, and you did as well as any lawyer could have done for you today. So you should be proud of what you've accomplished today. And you've got wonderful support. My vote likewise is not to revoke with the same conditions as outlined as by Ms. Wise. If you live with your grandmother until your parole supervisor indicates it's safe to move somewhere else, that you have no contact whatsoever with the victim in this case, and that you report to the day reporting center. Report to the day reporting center for 6 months.
When you're offshore.
When you're not working offshore, you work, I think your schedule was a month and 2 weeks. So whenever you're back in town, you need to report to the day reporting center. Good luck to you.
Yes, sir. Thank all of y'all.
Well,
I really do
thank
appreciate it.
everyone who spoke today on his behalf.
Yeah, and yes.
Thank you.
I'll talk to y'all soon. I love y'all.
I love you, Zach.
All right.
We're here to help you, honey.
Adjourned at Vermillion.
Wow. That felt like a roller coaster. Totally surprised. A lot of emotions ringing. My grandmother is a hero. She's a young looking 76-year-old, if you ask me. It just felt like such a warm, great result. He really does seem like a good kid. He's got a great buddy. He's got a good job. I think it was, they showed his form, which they don't normally do. $60,000 a year. He was just completely honest. He got the compliments of at the end there about being a great attorney. Can you imagine Chloe? They're dating. He gets locked up. She goes, has a baby with someone else. He comes back. He's then cheating on her. And because of that, she lies to the police, which at the beginning, there's many things. I am not going to pretend that I'm like a human body, but the whole time she was nodding her head yes. And we didn't know yet what she was going to say. And I was confused. Why is she nodding her head in agreement to everything he was saying? And then when she came up, she said, I lied. She said, I feel convicted. I think that wasn't the word she was looking for, but it sounds to me like a false police report. And you could get locked away for that. Wow. Maybe she didn't realize what would happen and that it would, end up getting him locked up for 8 months. And I just want to give her, I guess, the props for coming out and publicly admitting it. And she screwed up really bad. He's locked away for 8 months, could have entirely wrecked his life. In so many ways. It seems like it will just be like a blip on the radar, hopefully something that he grows from. And she at least she did everything right to correct her mistake, which is all you can ask for from someone when someone makes that kind of mistake, right? But initially when she came out and said that she lied, the two thoughts that ran through my head were, is she lying now? And if she's not, then I was mad at her because like we hear about these things a lot more often now. Because in our society, women do have the power with a statement to lock someone up, especially if they have a criminal record. And I got to tell you, I have a personal story, but now's not the time to share it. So this is sensitive to me. And I hope motorcycle. I have I've been in 2 motorcycle accidents. They're dangerous. Be careful when you're young, at least. And he probably has a crotch rocket. Like he hurt his leg. His job is about being physical. And I hope he passes the physical. And it just seems like what a roller coaster story, but what a warm, happy ending. And he does, by all accounts, seem like a good kid. That look how quickly your life can change. I'm a little overwhelmed. His mother had a disability. His grandmother really has been taking care of him. Everything she said and then also the things that he said when he had to get out, like he owes her $1,000 for the preliminary attorney, which I wonder what that attorney actually did. Help him fill out some paperwork, $1,000. Thanks. He has that ticket. And then it's nice to hear I'll get a car, stay off the motorcycle. Yeah, that was, I'd love to hear your thoughts.